Bat. Chatting with MattTheBat. You chat, I chat, we chat, I'm fat. Chatting with MattTheBat. Yeah!
Hello, everybody. My name is MattTheBat from MattTheBat's Bat Shit Show, and this is yet another episode of Bat Chat. It's a series where I hear unique perspectives from super unique people. So if you're new here, please make sure to hit that little like button, the subscribe button, and that little bell notification. Ding! That way we can stay up to date on all the cool upcoming episodes. Let's go. I don't know if you guys know this, but bats fly. Not this bat, considering I'm animated and not rigged yet to fly around the room, but maybe that's coming soon. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below. Do you want to see me fly and some shit like that? Anyways, that was a bad segue into telling you about our guest today, who flies quite a bit in real life. He's a friend of mine, a fellow New England legend, and a full-time commercial airline pilot. Everybody welcome Josue Tejada to the stage. Woo!
Hey, what's going on, guys? I flew in onto the set, and here I am.
Yeah.
Got my little plane, ready to go.
Oh, thanks for making the trip in, and you brought a little model plane. Do you carry that with you everywhere?
Yes, I sleep with it. Just while it's so important to me. Cuddle it, love this thing.
All right, that's enough, bro. We don't need to know about that. All right, that's some personal info right there. What you do with that little phallic plane.
Yeah.
What's up, man? It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. It's been a little while, but you look well.
I look well, thank you. You look well as well. You look beautiful as ever. You're a beautiful bastard, is what I would say.
Thank you. I just came out of hair and makeup, so this is the best we'll get.
Oh, nice. I mean, yeah, it's been a while. Since I've seen you. You just moved into a new apartment. You've got a girlfriend now. Congrats, man.
She's asleep actually right now in the room over, but she's great. She's just asleep, so I wish she could do like a cameo, but she's asleep.
Well, I've heard that she's a flight attendant, and that is so insane and hilarious because it's literally like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Get it? Because you're.
Yeah. She's great. I wish she was awake, but in spirit, hello.
In spirit, I see what you did there. That's a pun. Spirit Airline.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, let's say that's what I was going for.
Yeah, man. So thank you for coming on. Typically, the show we feature creators, and just because most people in my life are creators, and it's kind of like all the content that I consume. But I wanted you to come on today because, like, I realized I've never talked to I know you obviously, but like, have people heard from pilots? Like, pilots don't talk very often, right? And it's like such a fascinating profession, and I just thought it would be so fun to have you on and kind of like hear your perspective and stuff like that. But yeah, and at the end of the day, like, I have such an appreciation for people who have these like seemingly impossible sort of like dreams that are like hyper specific, like being a pilot or something like that, which is something that seems so far-fetched when you're like a kid and that's your dream, but then to actually be an adult and be a pilot is crazy. And when I was looking at your Instagram today, I was doing some little research and whatnot, and your first picture was from 2012, and it's just of a plane, and the caption is just "I like airplanes." And then I'm thinking like almost 10 years later, you've been flying them, man. So how does that happen? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, just like a little boy dream. And then I got a little bit older, and I still wanted to do it. And I kind of hit that point somewhere in high school where my family and everyone around me was like, okay, he's liked planes when he was a kid, but when they're kids, maybe, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to do this and do that, but they'll, and I got into high school, and I was still as fascinated with airplanes as I was as a kid. So enough time passed that I kind of convinced my family that I really wanted to seriously pursue it. And I went and took a flight lesson my senior year of high school. And that kind of sealed the deal, because that was the first time I actually flew an airplane right before going off to college. And I was like, okay, this is great. This is like how I pictured it and everything. And then college, then taught for a little while. And now I fly this guy, which is a little bigger than what I flew back then. This is the jet, the CRJ 900.
Wow.
Mighty beast that I fly. Yeah.
This exact one in your hand, right? You shrink yourself down and hop into that thing and
yeah.
fly around the house and know your girlfriend. No, I mean, That's crazy. It's such like an awesome story about how you got to that point. And yeah, as you said, like a lot of people say that as a kid, you know, they have these big dreams. I'm going to be an astronaut. And, you know, as a kid, you're told you can do whatever you want. But as a parent, you're normal, you know, the parents are normally like, yeah, fucking right, you're going to become an astronaut. Like, how many people become astronauts? How many people become pilots? But the fact that you were able to do that is so cool. And I'm thinking about my childhood dream, which we made these like quilts, and we had to like, I don't know why it was a quilt, but we had to kind of draw on it in some marker thing, like what our goal was when we were an adult. And it was made into a quilt because my school was white like that, and it was hung on the wall of my elementary school. And my elementary school was called Pumpkin Delight, which is the weirdest name I've ever heard in my life, and I cannot tell you why it would possibly be called that. But my dream was to be a mountain climber, and I think that's so funny because I'm so afraid of heights, and like what a bullshit dream that was. Like I would look at me now, I'm a fucking loser. Like I could never do that, man. A mountain climber, like that. Those are big aspirations for someone like me. That's crazy. So to see you do that is like very admirable and inspiring.
Yeah, it's like I've been doing it for enough that it's a part of my daily life. Like I just got back from flying yesterday, and I flew 5 days, like 2 or 3 flights a day. But there's just every now and then there's still those moments that still remind me, oh, this, you know, I still am very lucky to be here. Like I was just signing up at the gym earlier today, and I was going through my stuff and getting my membership, and they just asked like what I did because it was just taking a little while, and I told them I was a pilot, and the three of them just kind of, what? No way. I just, oh yeah, you know. I always like do a little, oh no, it's nothing, but like they're nice little moments that just remind me. I'm very lucky to, you know, have gotten here, and that I do what I wanted to do when I was 4 or 5, you know, as far as I can remember.
So the first time you flew, you were like 17 or 18 then, right?
Yeah, I was 17, and it was kind of just like an introductory thing that you could do at a flight school, because a lot of people will message me every now and then, just like inquiring about the path to become a pilot, and I'll tell them just, you know, don't think that you can't do something until you actually try it. So I'll tell them just check out a local flight school, and it'll run you like $140, $160 usually, but it's basically a discovery flight, an introduction. You go up in a small airplane with an instructor, and you get to fly the airplane and just like, you know, talk on the radios and do everything a pilot would do, and kind of see if it would be, you know, something you'd be able to do. And that was the first time I flew, and from that I kind of gathered, well, I didn't hit anything. I got back onto the ground, so I think I have at least enough of a foundation to go and study it in college and take it from there. So
you've never been afraid then? Were you weren't afraid of being up high as a kid? Like before you were flying, you always just enjoyed being in the plane in general?
Yeah, that was the weird thing about me as a kid, was I was obsessed with just like going fast and adrenaline and roller coasters, and like I would jump off my desks in elementary school, just like weird. I don't know, like something was wired different. I don't know, but that was just kind of my thing. And the flying, just every part of it, the airplane, going up high, talking on the radios, just every part about it was so appealing to me that I had to go for it, you know. And
you love it. Like this is it for you. Like this is your life. That's so cool.
Yeah, like even because now as an airline pilot, it's a lot different than when I was an instructor and when I was a student, where it was just me and an instructor. Now we have, you know, fully loaded, we could have 70 passengers, and it can get a little bit stressful. You know, the decisions that we're making up there affect everyone on board. But even then, it can get a little bit stressful. But I just have to always take a second and just, I'm in a chair in the sky, you know, and this is where I'm working through these issues. So I'll be okay.
So you're literally the dude, like when people exit the plane and you're sitting at the front, like tipping the hat to everybody. That's so funny.
Yeah, I really like doing that too. It's kind of a saying amongst pilots, if you land, you stand, which kind of means like if you land at the airplane, you'll stand right in the galley and you'll say bye to the passengers. So if it was good, you'll get compliments usually, because people do tend to notice if it was a good landing. And if it was bad, you'll get heckled for it, as you deserve for a bad landing. So I really enjoy being up there and saying bye to everyone as they get off. It's a lot of fun.
It's definitely comforting. I feel like there's no greater feeling as a passenger then being grateful for the land, and then seeing the pilot there and the flight attendants just being like, thank you, because like I literally would die if you didn't do your job correctly. So it's such a prestigious honor, I bet, for you to be able to be the dude sitting there. So I have a few questions, as you know, I just asked you a few, but I have a few more, and I was thinking it could be kind of fun to reach out to my Instagram followers to see what they wanted to ask. And by the way, if people who are watching this aren't following me yet, please follow me, follow Josue as well. His link will be below. But yeah, I'm currently working on ways to kind of like integrate my show into Instagram. So I was like, all right, let me just ask my friends. And yeah, I asked them, and there's a couple that I have for you. But the first thing I want to ask, which is my question, is about laser pointers, because I remember being a wee little lad shooting laser pointers in my friends' eyes, and you know, being in a bush and shooting them into my neighbors' windows and scaring the shit out of them. But the biggest like tale of the laser pointer was like, don't shoot it at the sky, because if it hits a plane, that's illegal. They're gonna fucking find you, and they're gonna fucking murder you and your family. So like, I want to ask you, like, is this true? Like, is this true? Because I've been waiting to know this answer for over 20 years, probably at this point. Like, can a laser reach that far, and is it illegal?
Yeah, lasers are extremely powerful. Like even those little ones at the end of the pen that you'd use in class to like paint on the walls and stuff, they're so powerful. I've never been personally lasered, but it's a really big deal if an aircraft were to get lasered. Like, it goes on the radios, it gets reported like all area aircraft laser strike, and like exactly where the airplane was. And the FBI I've heard stories of the FBI like 30 minutes after the laser incident, they have the guy. I don't know how that's even possible.
Shit.
Maybe they use satellites, I don't know, but they track those guys down very quickly, and it is illegal because, like I said, I've never been lasered, but I've heard of really bad laser strike incidents where both the guys are having trouble seeing, or like they're seeing double and stuff, and you're trying to land, and as you can imagine, it can get a little sporty, not being able to see the runway.
Wow, it's so funny that everybody knew that as a kid, but never knew why, because I would just hear that all the time. And it's so funny because I bet you like 90% of the time it's just some dumbass kid like me shooting it at something in the sky. Like, So now to the Instagram questions. Fortunately, I'm not gonna ask a few because some of my followers are little pervert freaks, and I want to keep this professional for my sake and for yours. Actually, no, not for my sake, but for yours. I don't give a shit. But so the first question I have is from one of my friends, and he's this amazing YouTuber named The Talentless Writer. He does animations and stuff like that. If you guys haven't checked out his YouTube yet, go check him out. I'll put his name in this. But his question is, hey Josue, why can't the plane go faster? There's no traffic. And when I saw that, I thought,
that's awesome.
So fucking true. And it also made me think that like over my lifetime, as I've been going out to LA and stuff like that a lot, you know, for the past 10 years or so, I feel like my trips have gotten way shorter. Like I feel like they have gotten faster. But like, can the planes go faster?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there is a little bit that we can do. Like the aircraft does have a maximum speed that it can fly at, and there's some pretty scary things that start to happen in the jet if you exceed those speeds. For example, in my airplane, if you start to exceed the theoretical maximum speed, right? You start to get some funky pressure patterns right on top of the wing, and the plane actually starts to kind of tip over, which makes it accelerate even more, which makes those pressure patterns even stronger, and you start to accelerate, which is bad because you're already past the speed you're supposed to be at. But usually we cruise at a speed that is a combination of being economical and obviously for economical in terms of how much fuel the engines are going to use, but also a plane might do 4 or 5 flights a day, and over the course of however many flights it does, those few minutes where you're going faster or slower can mean the difference between squeezing in another flight or so. But if a flight's delayed, we can usually coordinate with our dispatcher, like, hey, instead of flying this speed, can we go a little bit faster? But there's usually a few other things we can do to make up some time on a flight. We're usually trying to get shortcuts from air traffic control. Like if our route takes us, let's say, like north and then west, why don't we just go northwest here and then cut off a little bit of distance? Shortcuts, because we can go a little bit faster sometimes depending on, like I said, those factors, how much fuel we have, how much fuel we need. But usually we can make up a little bit more time just getting shortcuts. Actually, those save a good amount of time.
And I guess speaking of fuel, that's a good another question that I had, and it's from a follower who I actually don't know. His name is Trent Benjamin Bryant, and he asks, "Hey Josue, how do you feel about carbon emissions that the plane gives off? Saying your company is carbon neutral doesn't mean it's helping."
Yeah, no, that's something I've thought about. So we as pilots, so the plane that I fly, it consumes a specific amount of fuel, but there's things that we can do to try to save gas, which I try to do as much as possible. For example, when we're at the gate, we have this tiny little engine in the back called an APU, and what this APU does, it's basically a tiny little engine that gives us electricity, can give us conditioned air. And what we do when we're at the gate is we usually try to have the ground crew plug in power and hook up a little tube of air, so we don't have to run the APU and save a little bit of gas. We could also just run, if let's say it's going to take 10 minutes to taxi to the runway, well, I only need 2 minutes to warm up an engine for takeoff, so we might just taxi using one of the engines, and vice versa. When we land, the engines need 2 minutes to cool down, so what we'll do is we'll start a timer as soon as we land, and once those 2 minutes have passed, we'll shut off an engine to save a little bit of gas. So there are things that we do to try to save gas. But in terms of just aircraft in general, every generation of aircraft that comes out is a lot more fuel efficient. The A220 that just came out, you compare that to the last generation of aircraft, and it's saving you 30% on fuel. So 30% with a next generation of aircraft is a pretty huge amount when you consider how much a plane might fly over the course of a year. So that's kind of what we can do as pilots to save gas, and then that's just kind of where the industry is headed. And of course too, there's research into different ways of powering an aircraft. Like, what if we could use electricity to power it? What if we could use hydrogen or some other kind of renewable fuel source? That's always a discussion, that's always a part of the discussion as well.
Wow.
So we could be a little more environmentally friendly.
Interesting. I mean, that's cool that it's heading that direction, as are many other things, which is great. And the next question is from our friend John Vito, who you know, JV. Yep, and these are his words, not mine. JV asks, "Hey Josue, do I actually need to turn my phone off, or is the flight attendant just being a bitch?" Which is terrible, but that's, as I said, not my words. This is what he asked, but like, what I have also wondered about that too, like, because sometimes I see people up there like not turning it on airplane mode, and I'm like, did people ask you this before?
Yeah, I've been asked. Long answer and short answer, but short, most practical thing is you're supposed to. Is it going to bring down the jet? No, that's not going to happen. But the other thing too is with like most planes being equipped with Wi-Fi and stuff too. It is very nice that we have that option on a lot of flights.
Yeah, Fly-Fi is the JetBlue one. So the majority of other questions are essentially about your cock in the cockpit, but I'm gonna skip those and I'm gonna rework the question to ask you, have you ever heard of anyone getting caught joining the Mile High Club, and what exactly happens if they do? Is it a felony to join the Mile High Club?
Yeah, there's like I'll call them like folk tales, because like I haven't been around to see anything like that, but of course there's the airline industry has been around for a while, like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's so much time there and so much room for things to have happened. But I have heard of things happening. But like I said, it's things I heard. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But yeah, it's I mean, I've wondered, because people have asked you that before, and I always wondered, just like on a plane full of people with, I don't know, I'd think it'd be kind of hard to pull off. I don't know.
The bathrooms are so small, and like that door that folds into itself is like so shitty and small. I can't imagine it. I understand the the idea of why you would want to do that, because it's prestigious and it's a funny story to tell. But I've never seen anyone personally go for it, or really have heard anyone that has done it. So I had to ask you that.
That's a very common question.
Are you gonna get your own plane, by the way, someday? Is that like a thing?
I've thought about that once I retire from flying commercially, just to fly around for fun. Because I like to think that I'll like it as much as I do now when I'm 50 or 60.
Hell yeah.
But one of the things that I do try to communicate to people a lot is just how incredibly safe flying is. Because I've had good friends of mine that have had phobias about flying, and I've worked through a lot of them and just spent some time talking to them about different aspects of the airplane or the operation, just to communicate to them how incredibly safe flying really is. And one of my good friends, actually, he'll travel now and he'll text me like, hey, like, I'm not afraid of flying anymore. And it took a little while. But the things like that make me like really happy that I could help someone with that.
That's awesome, man. Well, you guys heard it here first. You might have an amazing, handsome pilot like Josue who's guiding you through the sky. Wow, beautiful. I do happen to remember back when you were on Tinder back in the day, the bio may have been "Come fly with me," which is the most iconic, amazing thing to ever put in a bio. I don't know if that's how you won over your girlfriend, but that's quite incredible.
She messaged me, so yeah.
Very nice. I love it. Well, dude, thank you so much. It's been so great catching up with you. What you're doing is so cool. I have so much deep respect for that. Like, just living your dream out and getting what you want. Like, you don't hear about that very often from someone, who's a young kid, and then they go through their whole life trying to reach this goal and they hit it, man. So that's amazing. Best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks, man. That means a lot. It's like the biggest thing that I've taken away from this journey is just like, because you spend so much time with what ifs, like, what if I do this? What if I do this? I want to do this. The biggest thing that I've taken away from it is until you try it, you can't really, try it, whatever it is, just try it and see how it goes and then go from there. Because I had those same thoughts and concerns. Like, what if I'm putting all this time and research into becoming an airline pilot, and when it comes to actually flying the airplane, I'm no good at it? But, I went and tried it out in high school, and to my surprise, wow, I can fly an airplane, and it opened up a whole world of possibilities for me. So just anyone wondering what if, or can I, give it a try and go from there.
Amazing. I love that, man. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Maybe comment your favorite airline, your least favorite airline, whatever. Maybe comment and let us know about your Mile High experience if you have one, whatever you want. Thank you so much again, man. I'm MattTheBat from MattTheBat's Bat Shit Show, and this was Bat Chats. I'm dropping new episodes every week, so make sure to tune in next week, or else.
Or else. Or else.
Yes.
I love it.
You love that thing, man.